All right, welcome to Talkin' Investing. I am Tom, and as always, this is not financial advice. Today, I want to talk to you about a company, Bitfarms, stock ticker BITF. They are a Bitcoin mining company, and today they announced their May Bitcoin mining operational update. If you're watching this video right now, there's more than a 50% chance that you have not yet subscribed to the channel, according to my statistics. So we would love to have you. We're making a push towards 10,000 subscribers. That would be very important to us, so we would appreciate it. Also, if you'd smash the like button, we'd really appreciate that, and you will see down below in our pinned comment, there's a link to our free Discord. So we would love to have you over there as well. Okay, so today is June 1st, and Bitfarms has put out their operational update for the month of May. So they have gotten into the habit of doing this on the first business day of the month. Let's go right to the May update and see what they had to say and see how they did. Okay, Bitfarms provides May 2022 production and mining operations update. So right off the top, they'll tell you they mined 431 Bitcoin for an average of 13.9 Bitcoin per day. So 431 Bitcoin is their all-time record in a month. 13.9 Bitcoin per day is their all-time record. May was a very productive month. So let's see what they have to say. Bitfarms mining operations remain profitable even with the drop in Bitcoin prices. And remember, the Bitcoin prices dropped significantly in May. We went into May in the 40,000s and quickly dropped down to 30, got all the way down to 25. So we were trading between 25 and 30,000 for the second 2/3 of the month of May. What they're saying is that even at those levels, they still remain profitable. With our business model, stable, low-cost hydropower, and highly efficient Bitcoin miners and facilities, Bitfarms enjoys one of the lowest and most competitive costs to produce a Bitcoin globally. Our low cost of operations is one of our key strengths. So this is one of the important things. We've been talking on this channel about the potential for a bear market to extend or a crypto winter potentially, and which Bitcoin miners may be best suited to survive that. So obviously here you're seeing, even at these low prices in the month of May, which is really the lowest prices in the last year and a half, Bitfarms was able to maintain profitability under this scenario. Okay, so normally I toggle back and forth between this month and last month to compare, but they do it for me right here. During May, daily average production increased to 13.9 Bitcoin, and that's up 3% from 13.5 Bitcoin in April. So I will go back and look. This is their April update. You'll see in April, they were at 3.3 exahash. They mined 405 Bitcoin in the month of April. That was their all-time record. First time ever over 400, 13.5 Bitcoin per day. So if we go and compare, they are now at 3.4 exahash as of May 31st. So that's up 0.1 exahash. They mined 431 Bitcoin, up from 405, so that's their new all-time record, and that's up 6% from the month of May 2021. Equivalent of about $431,000 per day and approximately $13.3 million for the month, based on the Bitcoin price of approximately $31,000 at May 31st. So they then say 429 Bitcoin from mining operations deposited into custody in May. So as is always the case, they are nearly a 100% hodler. So every month, 2 or 3 of their Bitcoin seem to get used for operations. So they mined 431 and they saved 429 of them. So that puts them over 6,000 Bitcoin on their balance sheet. Here's the next bullet point. 6,075 Bitcoin in custody at May 31st, 2022, representing a total value of approximately $188 million based on a BTC price of $31,000. This is important because this Bitcoin secures a $100 million revolving line of credit that they have. So you can see even down at $31,000 per Bitcoin, they have $188 million of Bitcoin on their balance sheet, which is almost double the line of credit that they have open. So they have very little debt in this company, but the $100 million line of credit is the majority of it. They have also about $14 million in debt. However, they have about $300 million in property, plant, and equipment, most of which are their facilities and their Bitcoin mining machines. So they've borrowed almost nothing against that $300 million. So again, to go to the point where if we were looking into a crypto winter, we can see they're still making money at $31,000 a Bitcoin, and they still have a nice reserve. They also have a bunch of cash in the bank. So to me, to answer that question, I feel like Bitfarms is very well positioned to survive in a crypto winter. I'm not expecting a crypto winter, but it's just something we've been discussing on the channel, and we talked about going through as these monthly operations come out. and taking a look and see how each one of these companies was set up to survive a crypto winter. These are their Bitcoin mined by month. You'll see January and February. February, remember, only has 28 days, so it actually went down a little. March was 363, April was 405, May was 431, and they had a pretty large jump in hash rate from about 2.7 to now 3.4. That is quite an increase over the last 2 months. However, they do say the second phase of construction at the bunker, which is a facility that they're getting up and running, is continuing and is expected to increase the site's capacity to 36 megawatts when completed. With miner deliveries on schedule, we expect to have another solid month of growth as we build out our operational hash rate to our next goal of 4 exahash per second by the end of Q2. So technically, the end of Q2 is the end of June. They are really accelerating their growth. They did say in their quarterly earnings report that they were looking to get to at least 6 exahash by the end of the year, and they were managing expectations. They have machines to get to 7.2 exahash by the end of the year. Their goal is 8 exahash by the end of the year, but I think a lot of this is mitigation towards this downturn in the price of Bitcoin, so I think they're hedging their bets and leaving some wiggle room for themselves as far as growth plans go, because that's another one of the keys. If we're in an extended bear market here, you want to preserve your capital, and growing at the highest possible rate is not necessarily the highest priority. This company, even if they get to 6 exahash, they will have tripled their exahash in the year 2022. So that is massive growth. And again, they may get to 7.2 and they may get to 8 if the price of Bitcoin moves in the right direction. Okay, this is a page in their Q1 investor earnings report. So just to sum up, the firm plans to reach 6.0 exahash by December 31st, 2022. They have contracted miners to reach 7.2 exahash by December 31st, 2022. And then their year-end goal is 8 exahash. So those are kind of plan A, plan B, plan C, I think based largely on what happens to the price of natural gas, what happens to their building of the facility in Argentina, and what happens to the price of Bitcoin over the course of the rest of the year. Okay, so if we look at the price of Bitfarms, they're trading intraday right now at $1.88. So that leaves them at about a $433 million market cap. So this is historically very low for them. This stock has been beaten down. I think it's down about 80% from its peak. It's way off of some key lines of support that have temporarily turned into lines of resistance. So let's go to the chart and take a look. Okay, so this is Bitcoin chart on the 1-day time frame. So I just want to look, this is a zoomed out picture. I just want to show you how far this stock has fallen. They hit a recent high on November 9th at $9.36. From that price until now, they're down about 79.5%, call it 80% down from their highs from what is now about 6 or 7 months ago. So obviously the price of Bitcoin has tumbled in that same period of time. However, it is not down 80%. And the other thing to remember is Bitfarms has dramatically grown their business over this period of time. So it is my opinion that this company is very oversold. And again, please remember, this is not financial advice. You guys need to do your own due diligence and make your own decisions on whether or not this is a good entry point and whether or not you want to have this stock in your portfolio. For me, I'm looking at a risk-reward equation, and this one, again, tends to look to me to have a lot more upside than downside. So let's zoom in just a little bit and look at a couple of price targets. The first thing I want to mention, there's a line here, a red line at $2.75. And again, right now, Bitcoin is trading at $1.89. This line at $2.75 held even all the way through last summer, where Bitcoin did get down to a low of $29,000. So this was an extremely strong line of support. It held all the year 2021, and it held all the way up until May of 2022, where we broke under this line, and we have not been able to get back there since. So for me, this is part of the reason why I believe Bitfarms is very oversold, because they are a much bigger company. Bitcoin is at roughly the same price, yet the price of Bitfarms would have to increase almost 45% just to get back to what was a very solid line of support that has turned into resistance. So for me, that would be my first price target. If Bitcoin were to start to get healthy at all, it looks like there's 45% in my mind that just represents oversold. It looks like from where we are right now, Bitcoin is about 12% off of its 52-week low. So, that's my realistic downside. And remember, the downside of every stock is 0. So I just try to do reasonable price ranges. So I'm looking at about a 12% downside, about a 45% upside just to get back to what was last year's 52-week low. Okay, the last thing I'm going to look at is this really just goes back just a few days over 2 months. On March 29th, Bitfarms was trading at over $4. That is a line of support that held also most of the year in 2021. Since we broke to the downside, this has turned a little bit into resistance, but we've revisited it on a regular basis. However, over the last 2 months, April and May were a nightmare. If you remember, Bitcoin had a 9-week streak of being in the red. So that's the longest down streak in the history of Bitcoin. So correspondingly, all the Bitcoin miners had a very similar streak. So I do think if Bitcoin can get a little bit healthy and go on a little run, and I'm talking to just 35,000, I think this is definitely a reasonable price target. And this represents a 123% increase in the price of Bitfarms. So that's a little bit longer term. Call that a 2022 price target, but that is more than a double. So I think there's some nice potential upside here. The downside risk seems fairly manageable. So again, this is not financial advice. Please do your own due diligence. You can see this is an ultra highly volatile stock. So that's my update for Bitfarms for the month of May. If you made it this far, please remember to subscribe to the channel and smash the like button. Thank you so much, and we will see you in the next video.